This is CBN NewsWatch.
Thank you so much for joining us for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. It is Monday, November 25th. I'm Ephraim Graham. Ahead today, Thanksgiving week is here, and so is a fresh round of cold weather and snowstorms across much of the country, just as a record number of Americans are expected to travel for the holiday. The Democrats have a new candidate for president as former New York City mayor and billionaire Michael Bloomberg officially announces he is running. Kanye West took his music and his gospel message to a prison recently, but not everyone is happy about it. We'll tell you who objected and why. And CBN Asia celebrates its 25th anniversary of spreading the gospel. We'll take a look at how far it's come and what plans are yet to accomplish. All those stories and more are ahead in this edition of CBN NewsWatch. We begin this half hour with a major winter storm and cold expected to hit in the next few days, just as a record number of Americans are expected to be traveling for Thanksgiving, some 27 million exactly. The storms will create winter-like travel conditions. Snow along with rain have already hit the Northeast and parts of the Midwest, with snow driving cars off the road near Dayton, Ohio, and weather conditions making driving conditions dangerous in New York and across the region. And two more storms are coming, bringing snow to the central part of the country in the middle of the week and high winds in the east near the end of the week. With us now is Weather Bell meteorologist Joe Bastardi. He's also the author of the book, The Climate Chronicles, Inconvenient Revelations You Won't Hear from Al Gore and Others. So, Joe, just as you said last week, the weather warmed up, a cold spell. What's bringing this latest cold weather on?
Well, we're seeing a pattern repetition going on. And, Weather Bell, we've been saying since the summer, we thought this was going to be a wild winter across much of the United States because of the sea surface temperature configurations have a lot to do with it in the Pacific and in the Indian Ocean, believe it or not, and right off the eastern seaboard. Now, off the East Coast, the water is warm, and in the early part of the season, that fights these winter storms. The later part of the season, as you get back deeper into December and January and February, what will happen is, as more and more cold air comes in, there are bigger fights along the East Coast, so it starts snowing along the eastern seaboard. But the Midwest, the lakes, the Central Plains have had 2 to 3 times their normal amount of snow already for this time of the year, and they're about to get hammered again. Nebraska, from Denver to Duluth, the first storm is going. That's tonight and tomorrow. And Minneapolis, St. Paul is probably going to get 6 to 12 inches of snow with this one. That one scoots across the Great Lakes and is off the eastern seaboard by Thanksgiving Day. And that's the strong winds coming into the eastern part of the United States out of the north, which means that it could be interesting if you're holding balloons Thanksgiving Day in New York City. You're going to get a big Latin hip workout trying to hold on to those things because you're probably going to get some wind gusts because the wind is out of the north in New York City. It faces the roads go east, west, and north, south. Those alleys between the big buildings that the parade goes on, actually the wind accelerates between there. So that's going to be interesting to see what's going to go on with that over there. By Thanksgiving, a new storm is loading up with snow from the Texas Panhandle. It races northeastward, and later Friday and Saturday and Sunday, that spreads across the lakes and perhaps as far south as the Mason-Dixon line in the northeast. Now, this is kind of interesting because there's some big football games in the Big Ten this weekend. Minnesota, Wisconsin. You got Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State, Rutgers, of course. I'm a Penn State grad. So that's going to be, there may be some interesting weather for that. But look, a large part of the country, from Texas on northeastward to D.C. and back to Cincinnati and down to Florida, it's going to have some pretty good weather for travel this week, okay? And it closes in on the weekend. But I will tell you this, next week, things get real interesting. It's the cold that's going to be in the West. And you people in the West, Salt Lake City, Reno, even Las Vegas. It may snow in Las Vegas this week out of this situation. And of course, Denver, too. So it's the West and up into the north that gets hammered. There's going to be impact there. But further south and east, let's not make it bad everywhere, especially where it's going to be good.
All right, Joe Bastardi, thank you so much for your time. I want to remind people you've also written a new book, and we'll have more on that in the future. Thank you so much, Joe.
Thanks a lot. Have a great day, everyone.
You too. I want to turn now to politics. One of the world's richest men has formally launched a bid for the Democratic presidential nomination. Former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg It pits the billionaire New Yorker against the billionaire New Yorker in the White House. Bloomberg, whose net worth is estimated at more than $50 billion, has vowed to spend at least $150 million of his fortune on the 2020 campaign and says he will not accept a single political donation for his campaign or take a salary if elected president. His top campaign issues will be gun control and climate change. The Supreme Court is likely to be a major issue in next year's presidential election, with the court watchers paying close attention to the health of 86-year-old Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. The Supreme Court says Ginsburg has been released after spending 2 nights in Johns Hopkins Hospital in Baltimore, where she was treated for a possible infection. Ginsburg has had 4 occurrences of cancer, including 2 in the past year. She's been on the High Court since 1993, since being appointed there by President Bill Clinton. Only Justice Clarence Thomas has served longer among current members of the court. And in Hong Kong, the pro-democracy opposition won a stunning landslide victory in this weekend's local elections, overwhelmingly defeated pro-Beijing candidates. The biggest pro-democracy party swept nearly 90% of the council seats, which will help it take unprecedented control of 17 out of 18 district councils. A record 71% of eligible voters turned out. The results will also create new problems for Beijing, as this shows that the public clearly supports the pro-democracy movement. Coming up, it's a one-day event to promote the gospel being held in different cities on different days around the world. We're going to bring you a look at it when we come back. Stay with us.
Life is better with a good night's sleep. Get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep as the world watches from the outside.
It's a big diplomatic tug-of-war here in the Middle East.
Go inside the story with Jerusalem Dateline.
Israeli archaeologists are talking about a discovery that could change the thinking about the Temple Mount.
Join CBN Jerusalem Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell and get the biblical perspective on the events shaping the world.
What starts in Israel then ends up going to other places.
Watch Jerusalem Dateline Friday night at 9:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Life. It's meant to be lived fully. Jesus said it. I came to give you life. Life to the fullest. Life in your family. Life in your finances. Life in your body, mind, and spirit. Life in your everyday. At CBN.com, we're taking what Jesus said seriously. We're here to help you discover life. Life. Live it fully. CBN.com.
Get the top political news and analysis from Washington on Faith Nation, tonight at 6 Eastern, only on the CBN News Channel.
A one-day event to promote the gospel in cities across the world is on the move. Those called to lead these gatherings are individuals with a vision for God, accelerating a gospel movement in their city. Individuals eager to link arms with other leaders who desire to see the body of Christ come together. Charlene Aaron attended one rally in Newport News, Virginia, and shows us what's behind this new effort.
Pastors from this part of Virginia met at New Beach Grove Baptist in Newport News to discuss the best ways to reach their cities for God. It's all part of something called Movement Day, a global initiative being used to bring churches together.
we're praying for laborers.
Richard Young of First Baptist Church Newport News felt challenged in coordinating the event.
So many of the churches are doing so much already that it's tough to take the step back and say, how can I collaborate with you?
Pastor Willard Maxwell answered the call by opening the doors of his church, New Beach Grove Baptist, to foster greater unity and collaboration.
This wasn't even my event, but when they said Movement Day, they needed a building, I said, let's come on. It doesn't matter who gets credit.
I am believing that God will use our time together like an urban upper room.
Mac Peer, founder of Movement Day, says rapid city growth presents unique opportunities for cooperation as local churches work to meet community needs while also sharing the gospel.
We really want the body of Christ to have a very powerful expression of unity in that city, to recognize that we really do belong to each other, that we are God's new society. We really want to understand the greatest challenges facing a city, both spiritually and socially, and we want to see measurable progress over the course of 10 years.
Board member Bishop Claude Alexander of the Park Church in Raleigh, North Carolina, sees positive results coming from these gatherings held in cities across the globe.
I've seen, number one, people who would not normally enter into a room together because they're either center right or center left. I've seen them come into the same room and to realize their commonness. Their commonness in the gospel, their commonness in concerns, their shared desire to see the gospel flourish and the kingdom be advanced.
And that's the ultimate goal, one movement and one city at a time. Charlene Aaron, CBN News.
Still ahead, CBN Asia celebrates its 25th anniversary. We're going to bring you a look at how much it's grown over the last quarter of a century and how it plans to reach still more people in the region with the gospel in the years ahead.
Hey, if you're tired and exhausted all day, you can't think clearly, and you really just need a cup or even a pot of coffee to get through your day, then join me, Dr. Josh Axe, for this new series where I'm going to teach you how to transform your diet and use essential oils and supplements to get a better night's sleep.
Wake up to your best life. Call 1-800-700-7000 to get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
It's about the competition.
I kind of put that pressure on myself, and I think people had expectations.
It's about overcoming.
We use this phrase all the time, keep chopping, keep practicing hard.
It's about going the distance.
You know, I think as a father, it's my job, to lead. Just be the best husband and father I can be.
Watch Going the Distance with Sean Brown Saturday night at 7:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Orphans Promise is committed to loving and serving at-risk children, to helping keep families together, and to creating opportunities for strong and sustainable communities around the world. We're working in over 60 countries around the world, and with your help, we can do even more. There's an old African proverb I love that says, if you want to run fast, run alone. But if you want to run far, run together. At Orphans Promise, we want to run far so we can touch the lives of as many orphaned and vulnerable children as possible. But we don't want to go alone. We're out to change the world, one child, one family, one community at a time. Will you join us?
A little more than 25 years ago, CBN Asia was launched in the Philippines. From very small beginnings in 1994, it has expanded exponentially to spread the gospel throughout the island nation and surrounding countries. Last month, it celebrated this milestone anniversary in Manila, and CBN's George Thomas was there.
It was right here in this very building in the very heart of Philippines' capital city that CBN Asia was birthed 25 years ago. Today, using a host of multimedia platforms, a thriving prayer and counseling center, numerous humanitarian projects around the country, and an amazing cross-cultural missions initiative, CBN Asia is positioning itself here in Manila and around the country to reach a whole new generation with the message of Jesus Christ. A generation that's increasingly addicted to the internet. This year, Filipinos took top spot in the world for most time spent online. The average person in the Philippines spends 10 hours and 2 minutes on the internet every day.
The landscape has changed a lot, and there is more noise now. You know, real noise, fake noise, noise, and we really have to speak the truth to cut through the noise.
To cut through the noise, millennials like Sheena Ferrer, who make up a sizable portion of CBN Asia's 211-member team, is creating inspirational content for social media platforms, as well as producing web-based shows that target a tech-savvy generation.
Through digital media, we can evangelize, share the gospel online, and maximize all of these platforms.
It was a different media landscape when Gordon Robertson opened the Manila office in 1994. Malu Ibanez was part of the team 25 years ago that helped Gordon set up CBN Asia.
What were those early days like?
We practically had nothing. We had used furniture, used equipment, a TV set, a U-matic machine that you had to like pack for it to finally run.
Can you do that papa again?
Yeah.
Appreciate it, man.
Welcome.
Yeah,
nice to see you again,
Congratulations,
bro.
man. Yeah.
Edwin Arceo was also there during the early days and remembers the financial struggles of establishing a non-profit organization.
We really had to pray for it, for miracles to happen.
Myla Villavicencio, who has been with CBN Asia for 22 years, says miracles did happen, but only because of prayer.
Prayer was something that we learned about from Gordon Robertson. He really established CBN Asia on the bedrock of prayer. Everything we did had to be prayed for, prayed about. We didn't do anything without hearing from the Lord.
Through these platforms, we can continue to reach millions of souls for Jesus. One post and one click at a time.
CBN Asia is today at the forefront of pioneering a host of innovative strategies to reach the nations for Christ. On a recent Monday,
no, you don't hug first. I hug my love. Oh, yeah. Awesome. Yeah.
You look great. Good to see you.
You remember Catherine.
Gordon, his wife Catherine,
I got ready to get down.
and Nedra and Scott Ross joined the staff here in the Philippines to celebrate CBN Asia's 25th anniversary. It was a time to reflect on God's faithfulness. It is clear Gordon is among family here.
People would call Gordon suplado, like a bit aloof and all that. If you don't know Gordon, you would think he is, because he's not chatty as some others are. But as you come to know him, you get to feel his love for you, because he loves people. He cares for people in a quiet way.
And Lord, I thank you for Peter.
A special bond forged during those early years and continues 25 years later.
I recognize the plan and purpose of God. I recognize that, you know, when he called me back to Virginia Beach in 1999, I went kicking and screaming, but it was the right thing to do at that time. And it's great to come back. It's great to see what they've done. At the same time, it's bittersweet because I would love to be here. It's good to be home.
Gordon urged the Manila office during All-Staff Chapel to look beyond their borders.
And he will give you the anointing and the ability and the strategy and where to go and how to go and what to do. He will give all of that to you. We dedicate every person here to you.
The staff then joined Gordon in dedicating new office space on the 9th floor of this building that will serve as CBN Asia's call center. From here, Filipino counselors will work in various shifts to pray and minister to Americans who call in to the 700 Club.
Another team will focus on internet and social media evangelism. In addition to hosting a 25th anniversary gala event honoring CBN Asia's donors and a weekend time of ministry with staff,
The week of celebrations included a worship concert bringing together some of this country's top Christian artists as well as media influencers.
the concert, dubbed All for the One, saw some 7,000 people pack Manila's Araneta Coliseum to celebrate CBN Asia's milestone and to hear Gordon Robertson's charge to remain faithful to preaching the good news of Jesus Christ to the world.
And now, Lord, we're bold enough to say, here we are, send us.
George Thomas, CBN News, Manila, Philippines.
And today, CBN Asia is blazing new trails to reach hundreds of millions of people. Still ahead, Kanye West recently took his music and his message of faith and hope in Jesus Christ to a Texas prison. And now there's backlash over his appearance there. We're going to tell you why right after this.
I am Region's first ROTC graduate student.
Meet the pastors who are preaching the gospel in a fresh, fearless way. I'm Roberto Torres-Cedillo. Join me each week for Next Gen Voices. And watch God transform a generation.
How'd you like to get a redo on your health, on your body, on your arteries, so you could have the energy you had 20 years ago? The great news is you can. I'm Dr. Mike Roizen, chair of the Wellness Institute at the Cleveland Clinic. I've written 4 New York Times bestsellers. But even better than having to read all that, you can listen to this DVD and watch it. Protect your heart? Yes, you can. Here's how.
Go to CBN.com or call 1-800-700-7000 for your free copy of Protect Your Heart. Let the medical experts show you their new discoveries on how to avoid heart disease and even reverse it. Easy steps to uncover the hidden dangers in your medicine cabinet, reduce stress, and get a complete do-over for your health. Call 1-800-700-7000. That's 1-800-700-7000. Or go to CBN.com to claim your free copy of Protect Your Heart.
Check out the CBN News Daily Rundown podcast each weekday with me, Caitlin Burke. Click on the show tab at cbnnews.com where you can listen and subscribe.
Prophecy thousands of years old.
We were called to be a light to the world.
Being fulfilled today. Discover how. Get to life. Call 1-800-700-7000.
We consider it our duty to reach out and help others around the world.
For a gift of $10 or more, you can own the acclaimed CBN documentary To Life. Just call 1-800-700-7000 or log on to CBN.com.
To treat a human, no matter what he is, which religious he have, which color he is. This is what I'm doing.
See how the people of Israel are fulfilling prophecy.
History is being written, and I want to be a part of it.
By sharing their knowledge.
In Africa, in Asia, in South America, in East Europe.
And their love.
This is how we work. This is us.
Get to life. Call 1-800-700-7000 or log on to CBN.com.
Kanye West shared his faith at a Texas prison, and now he's taking heat for it. George Thomas talked to FaithWire's Dan Andros about it. Take a look.
Rap superstar Kanye West wants to share his growing faith in Jesus Christ with as many people as he can, even those behind bars. But he is coming under fire. Faith Wire's Dan Andros joins us now with this story that is all the buzz online. So, Dan, we've seen Kanye Sunday's service has become a social media hit, but a visit to a prison brings an atheist group's complaint. What's up with that?
Yeah, well, look, as you said, Kanye is getting widespread compliments from what he's doing, widespread praise, but the Freedom From Religion Foundation, they really make a living and a habit out of just complaining about any time faith is mentioned in the public sphere. So, of course, and I didn't see this one coming. They are, you've seen it, George. They always complain when there's a prayer on a football field at a high school game and those sorts of situations. So I didn't think of it from the prison perspective, but when they looked at it as a government facility, here they come. The Freedom From Religion Foundation made a complaint. They said the Supreme Court has said time and time again that the First Amendment mandates governmental neutrality between religion and between religion and non-religion. And they said by organizing what you admit, the prison, to be a worship service, you cross this line. So they complain, and this is kind of standard fare for the Freedom From Religion Foundation, as I said, and they closed with saying, because it imposed religious views on inmates, literally a captive audience, who have a deep and immediate interest in being seen favorably by the jail staff. So they weren't fans, but again, standard fare that they like to complain.
Okay, so has Kanye responded to this?
I haven't seen Kanye respond, but the sheriff who was at the center of the complaint from the FFRF, he did respond, Sheriff Ed Gonzalez, and he just said the whole appearance was, quote, uplifting, and that many of the inmates experienced God in a powerful way. And he said, you can see some who were down on their knees in prayer, and even some of our teammates were brought to tears. So the sheriff doesn't seem fazed by this complaint in the least. So
Kanye's appearance at Lakewood Church with Joel Osteen was, wow, that was a big hit online as well. Tell us about that.
Yeah, the performance was great. Everything that they did seemed to go over very well, and it was very positive on social media. I think some people have questions. Of course, as we dive into Christianity, we know that there's different denominations. People have different views on things. And so I think the more Kanye goes around, he's going to get some critics who say, well, why would you go with this guy? Why would you go with that guy? But I think for the most part, people are just appreciative that Kanye is out there spreading the gospel and that he's willing to do it wherever somebody's willing to accept him.
You have a show coming up tonight. It's called Faith versus Culture. What do you have cooking?
Yeah, well, we're going to be looking at how do we address transgendered people as Christians. The SBC president, J.D. Greer, gave his opinion on that, and we're going to break it down because his comments raised a lot of eyebrows. So we're going to break that down tonight.
Okay, terrific. As always, you can find this terrific show right here on the News Channel. Dan, my man, thank you as always.
Thank you.
And you can watch Faith Wire on the CBN News Channel tonight at 9:30 Eastern. Time now for your Monday motivation, and today I leave you with this thought to jumpstart your day and your week. God is on your side, and he's working it out for your good. And it may not feel good, but he will make it good. With that word, I encourage you to make today a marvelous Monday, and be sure to have a wonderful rest of the week. That will do it for this edition of CBN News Watch. Remember, you can find more of our news programs on the CBN News Channel anytime or online at cbnnews.com. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you right back here, same time tomorrow. Goodbye, everybody, and God bless.